Imagine a thief stealing a van, only to discover a dead body inside. Sounds like something out of a movie, right? Well, this actually happened in Rockford, Illinois. Someone stole a van from the Collins and Stone funeral home. This wasn't your typical vehicle theft though. The van had an unexpected passenger in the cargo area. The body of a 47-year-old man. Unlike a hearse, a funeral home van is often used for first call pickups or transporting the deceased to the funeral home. So it's likely this person had just passed away. According to Rockford police, the funeral home was in the process of handling arrangements for the deceased when the theft occurred. The van was discovered the very next day abandoned behind a vacant house in the city, but the body was nowhere to be found. Around 24 hours after finding the van, and 2 days after it was stolen, a grim discovery was made in a South Chicago alley, about 100 miles from the funeral home. The body was recovered, but the mother was left heartbroken by the ordeal. She said, "It was a nightmare. We thought we would never find him. Maybe they threw him in the lake or stole his organs. It was just unimaginable." The story took another twist when it was revealed that the funeral home director had previously been fined $10,000 for unprofessional conduct, failing to account for personal property, and several other violations. As a result, she was placed on probation. After this incident, the family of the deceased demanded that the funeral home be shut down, accusing it of gross negligence in handling the case. A Rockford police spokesperson stated, "We are still investigating how the van was stolen from the funeral home. It appears the vehicle was left unlocked and running before the suspect drove off in it." Authorities identified the suspect as a 23-year-old male, who was initially on the run. He faced charges of unlawful possession of a stolen vehicle and abuse of a corpse. Fast forward 2 months later. Police finally caught up with the suspect in Green Bay, Wisconsin, 200 miles north of the crime scene. He got into an argument with an officer during a traffic stop and was arrested. That's when police identified him as the wanted suspect. Now in custody, the suspect faces multiple charges, including unlawful possession of a stolen vehicle, abuse of a corpse, obstruction, and weapons-related offenses in Wisconsin. He was due to be extradited back to Illinois to face those charges. This next story just goes to show that you can't trust everyone, even certain relatives. It's about a man in New York's Nassau County who won $1 million in a lottery. But like many lottery winners, he wanted to remain anonymous. So he asked a female cousin to claim the prize on his behalf. In exchange, he would give her $50,000 from his $1 million winnings. That's a pretty nice payday. The woman, who lived in Virginia at the time, drove to her cousin's residence in New York and took possession of the winning ticket. This was during the pandemic, so she could not submit the ticket in person. Instead, she had to mail it into the New York State Lottery to claim the winnings. But greed can sometimes get the best of people, even family. In this case, the man's cousin had other plans. Prosecutors say she forged lottery papers and told her cousin that the ticket had paid out only $20,000. If that wasn't bad enough, when she brought the money to her cousin, she handed him an envelope with just $13,436 in cash. She told him the rest of the money was held for taxes. But her scheme didn't go as planned. Recall that the very reason the man didn't want to pick up the winnings himself was because the winner's name will be made public along with the amount they received. That means his cousin's name and the amount she collected would be made public. So of course the man found a press release from the New York State Lottery website. It clearly stated that the woman, his cousin, had claimed the $1 million prize and chose to receive a lump sum payment of $537,440 after taxes. Imagine his reaction after seeing his cousin in a photo, holding a check for $1 million and telling him it was only for $20,000. And then she had the nerve to take out more for taxes? Remember, when she took the $500,000 payout, the required taxes had already been taken out. So she lied to her cousin a second time. According to the district attorney's office, once the man saw the press release and realized his cousin had lied, he then called her and demanded she give him his money. However, she insisted she had no additional money. She allegedly told him that he would suffer legal consequences if he continued to contact her. So she steals his lottery winnings and threatens to sue him if he keeps asking for his money? That's when police got involved. And after an investigation, it was discovered that the man had actually purchased the New York State lottery ticket for $5 at a convenience store. Once the theft was confirmed, the female cousin was arrested. With all the evidence against her, she had no choice but to plead guilty to grand larceny. The Nassau County District Attorney made the following statement. This defendant thought she hit the jackpot when she passed off her cousin's $1 million winning ticket as her own and claimed a lump sum payout of more than $500,000. But her greedy actions also spelled the end of her luck, and now she will serve time in prison for her crime. She faces a sentence of 1 to 4 years. She also had to forfeit more than $317,000 from her bank account to her cousin. Apparently she spent some of the money. Just think, she was getting $50,000 just to run an errand. And what does she do? She dishonestly tries to turn it into 10 times the money. But in the end, she wound up with a prison sentence. She also ruined any relationship she had with her cousin. Though based on the way she treated him, she clearly didn't value their relationship anyway. It should be no surprise to anyone that stupid crimes tend to be carried out by stupid people. For example, somebody slashed the tires of 7 police cars outside a police station in Queens, New York. Police released surveillance images and asked for the public's help in identifying the suspect. Police said, at around 7 a.m., the suspect punctured 1 tire on each of the 7 New York police vehicles. He was described as a man wearing a brown hat, multicolored jacket, and black pants. So we have a suspect wanted by police for vandalizing their patrol cars outside the station. The last thing you'd expect to see is the person you are looking for show up at the police station. But just 2 days after the incident, a man walked into that same police station to report his car had been stolen. And he was wearing a brown hat, multicolored jacket, and black pants. Yes, you heard right. The man who had just slashed the tires of 7 police vehicles and now had his image and description plastered all over social media, showed up at the scene of the crime wearing the same clothing. Police said they quickly recognized him as the vandal when he arrived at the station. The man confessed to the crime after being questioned, but his motive for the vandalism was not clear. Police then arrested the 74-year-old Brooklyn man. He faced charges of criminal mischief. While it's quite puzzling that a wanted man would show up at a police station to report a stolen vehicle, there is also some irony here. It clearly demonstrates the absurdity of people who say they hate cops, but when something goes wrong, they call the cops for help.